How's it going, everyone? Adam here from Coding Basics, and welcome to tutorial number 6 in my Programming Leap Motion with Java series. Up until this point, we have learned how to get and use frame data, how to get and use hand data, and then in the last tutorial we went over finger data, and then went into it a little bit deeper by talking about the different bones of each finger. This tutorial is about tools. I mentioned in a later tutorial, I think it was actually the frame one where it kept track of the number of tools. Yeah, right here. So if you hold a pen or something over top of your motion sensor, it detects that as a tool. So we're going to go over some stuff you can do with that. Like previous tutorials, I'm going to comment out everything just so our console doesn't get too crowded with information. You guys don't have to comment if you don't want to. I'm just doing it for the purpose of these tutorials. And now, like the other ones, we're going to use a for loop. So for tool, another object that's part of the Leap library. I'm going to call this tool. And we are going to call the frame.tools method, which returns a tool list, another type of list in the Leap library. And for this, we are just going to print stuff out. That's all this tutorial is going to be. It should be pretty quick. So system.out.println. And first, tool ID. So, like every finger, like every hand, they all have an ID, which stays the same while the tool is being held over the motion sensor. But when you take it off, the next time you put it over the sensor, it's going to have a different ID assigned to it. So keep that in mind for your programs. So for the ID, it's just tool.id, returns an integer. Alright, now the next thing is the position. Tip position, I should be more specific, the tip position. So the end of your tool closest to the screen. And you get that from calling the tool.tipPosition method. Okay, next thing, oops, forgot a plus sign here. There we go. Next thing is the end. Sorry, not end, the direction. So direction. Okay, tool.direction. Call the method. Okay. And then the next thing is width. So add width, which just like the fingers and hand, I think the hand had a width method as well. It's the width of the tool in millimeters. So to get that, you just call the tool.width method, which returns a float. And finally, we are going over, actually I'm going to bring up the documentation for this one just to explain it better. This is the touch distance one. So how the leap motion works, in the center, there's this 0 position. Towards yourself is the positive position, and then when you go past the 0, it's negative. At 0, when you go past 0, you're in the touching area. So if you have, when you get your leap motion, if you download Aerospace, there's one app called Touchless. When you go over the center, that's when it considers you clicking on the screen. So Touchless is an alternative to your mouse. So yeah, that's all that is. The touch distance is how far away you are in millimeters from being in this touch area. So I just wanted to better explain that because I know I hadn't mentioned the touch distance yet. And for that one, all we have to do, so touch distance, and in brackets, I'm just going to let our user know it's in millimeters. Okay, and for that, all you got to do is call the tool.touchDistance method. Okay, and the only other thing like I've mentioned in a previous video, you're not just limited to the methods I'm teaching you. There are a bunch of other ones. You can look here for all the other methods and it'll show you. So for example, direction. So right there. For this one, the direction for the tool, it's the direction that the tool is pointing. Alright, so let's run this. When I hit play, right now I'm going to hold my pen over, see how long it takes to detect it. I mentioned it later, or an earlier tutorial, that chopsticks seem to work best. Okay, there you go. Now it's getting the pen. So let's look over some of this data. It gave the pen an ID of 25. The position, so the position of the tip. The direction, so which way the pen is pointing. The width of the pen, which is 9 millimeters, which, just looking at this pen, looks about right. And the touch distance, so it was saying it was very close in millimeters to being in the touch area. Alright, so that's all for this video. The next video is the last one in this series, which is going over gestures. Probably be a longer tutorial. Maybe I'll divide it in two. I'm not sure how long it will take. But that's all for this one. Remember to leave a comment on the video, like the video, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.